Welcome to Definitely Not Funny. Actually, the least funny person I know. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Definitely Not Funny. I am your host, Jackie Norris. I always do the podcast voice when I start. It feels silly, the one that Jason makes fun of me for. It feels silly, but I do it, and I can't record without doing it. I feel super weird otherwise. I don't know. Am I going to start an episode colloquially? No, I can't. I got to start it I didn't use that word correctly. Ignore me. I'm nervous. I've been off for a week, okay? A little nervy. Sorry this episode is a little late. I was super sick yesterday. I woke up with a stomach, whatever. You don't need the details on that, but a little stomach flare up, if you will. And I had to take off work and everything. And then today was crazy with work, and it was a whole thing. Became a whole thing. But I still wanted to come and put out a little episode, even though it is late Tuesday night and this won't come out likely until Wednesday because it takes forever to export. There's a lot of technical admin that goes into a podcast, and I haven't talked about it a lot lately, but there's a lot of it, and it's kind of hard, and it's not what I signed up for, but whatever, it's what I'm doing. So getting used to it, making that work. Things have been good. Today's episode, I want to talk about, the episode's called Bender Recovery 101. That's more of a clickbaity title. I'm disclosure right now. That is a clickbaity title because I'm not referring to a real bender I had, because I don't go on benders per se, because I just don't. I'm not really that type of person, but I had a long, exhausting weekend. And we're going to equate that to a bender. My bender may not be the same as your bender, but there's still a bender. I will say, in college, I used to go on real benders. But again, some people are going to argue that they're not real benders because I wasn't drinking. But I would consider them benders regardless, just due to the lack of sleep and the level of activity. That's what I would quantify as a bender. But this was more of just a fun long weekend. Spoiler alert, I was with a boy. He came from out of town. He may or may not be my boyfriend right now. And that's all I'm going to say on that front. So I want to keep that side a little, I want to keep that for myself. You know what I mean? Keep that a little private, a little for myself. Let that work itself out without me having to share it with the entire internet and the entire world. But yeah, it was really special. He came for the weekend. We had the best time, and it was the long weekend. It was President's Day weekend, which was super, super fun. And I took the Friday off work before, and I had that Monday off. So it was a 4-day where I was just I'm qualifying a bender as I was out of my routine, and my sleep schedule was totally fucked up, and I wasn't eating like I normally do, and I was kind of little things like that kind of turn into a bender. I don't know. I feel that feels like a bender, doing a lot of activities, staying out really late, going all over the place, engaging high level of social engagement, all the things. That was my bender. Okay. In college, maybe it was I'd go to Vegas for a weekend and it would be fucking heinous, but my busy weekend in Boston counts as my bender. So I was actually really struggling to recover from it. I remember I knew on Tuesday I was going to wake up and feel like shit because I was just going to be exhausted and just whatever. But then on Wednesday I was oh my God, I still am so out of it. What is going on? And so I'm okay, there's got to be a way to snap back into. I love a list. I love a good, you guys know this. I love a good list. Just here's action items. I love action items. I don't know if that's a Virgo. I don't know what that is, but that's I want to have a written out plan of what I can do to improve my situation. Does that make sense? So a list, some action items, things like that, a schedule. Love that. I fucking eat that up. So here are my action items for Bender Recovery 101. They worked for my bender. Hopefully they'll work for your bender. Whatever your bender may be. All benders are created equal in my eyes. Okay? I don't think one bender is greater than another bender. because I'm still qualifying mine as a bender. Okay, number 1. So here's my 10 things for bender recovery. Of course, it's a round number. Of course, it's an even number. Would we expect anything less? Number 1, hydrate. Just like the first thing you can do is just like drink water, drink electrolytes. I don't care if you weren't like drinking and hungover. I don't drink. I wasn't like drunk and hungover and whatever and God knows what, but I was still dehydrated and exhausted. Like just hydrate, get your body back into like homeostasis and get some fluids in. Get fluids moving. That's such an easy thing. You can do it. I believe in you and I know you can do it. Second thing is go to bed early. And you might have to do this for like a week. Like you literally might, depending on your age, like if you're 22, you don't have to do any of this, but if you're not, you're going to have to do this. So you like need to go to bed early for a few days in a row to really like kind of, you can't, I know there's like this thing where it's like you can't technically catch up on your sleep, but you can at least like sort of recover a bit. Third thing, eat green food. I know for me, when I like have like a bender weekend, the last thing I'm doing is like ordering a kale salad. So by the end of it, my body is screaming for a vegetable, like literally screaming at me, Jackie Norris, I need a vegetable so badly. So eat your green food. Get a Caesar salad, get a cucumber, get some broccoli. Just eat a little bit of green food. It's going to feel really, you know what's really good? Those like sugar snap peas from Trader Joe's. I mean, they have them at other grocery stores too. But the sugar snap peas, like you just eat them straight out of the bag. So good. That's your green food. It's going to work wonders. That step is magical. Going off of that, buy groceries. My guess is if you've had a little bit of a bender, you're either been out of town or you've neglected to kind of like have upkeep for a few days of your space, go buy some fresh food, like some fresh produce or just something to eat for dinner. Make yourself groceries so you're not Postmating another meal. Like you will feel more on track if you're just like, okay, I'm back home. I'm gonna, even if you literally buy yourself a frozen Trader Joe's meal and you just like go home and microwave it, you are making food for yourself. You're having food that like you're excited about, that's healthy, that you feel good about. That will help. You're not spending like an outrageous amount of money on a delivery fee for a Postmate driver. Like go buy groceries. You'll feel like a human. Off of that, do your laundry. It'll feel so good. That's such an easy lift because like if I'm like clean your whole room, that's exhausting. That's so exhausting. There's so many steps there. Like you have to be standing to do that. It's a whole thing. Doing your laundry, you just throw it in, turn it on, wait, lie down, and it still counts as cleaning. That lying down time still counts as you cleaning. Okay, my memory card ran out of space on my camera. And you know how I said I have to be a tech wizard for this darn show here? That's me being a tech wizard, is reformatting this memory card. So that was the intermission, but we're back. I was talking about laundry. How easy it is to do your laundry, how good it feels. It just to have clean pajamas to put on, like a clean pair of sweats. Oh, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than that. That's so nice, especially after like a long, exhausting weekend. Okay, number 6, get outdoors. Get outdoors for 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes, and then get right back into bed. But you need to get outdoors. I do not care if it is raining, if it is sleeting, if it is hailing. You grab an umbrella, you step outside, you walk up and down for 30 seconds, and you come right back in. Pretend you have a dog. Pretend you have a dog and the dog has to go to the bathroom. Like you have to take it outside. That is a non-negotiable. So you got to go outside. Go outside for literally 5 minutes. You probably won't feel amazing afterwards. Just trust me, it helps. It'll make a big difference. Next one is movement. Getting some sort of movement is really, really good. Whether that's like you go for a walk, you go for a run, you go to the gym, or you literally do like 10 push-ups. Just get like some sort of a little bit of movement. That's going to feel really good. That's going to start to like, I don't know. There's science behind it. Okay. I know that. You know that. We all know that. I'm putting it on the list here. Okay. Next, number 8, to-do list. create a to-do list. Like, create a to-do list of all these things that I've mentioned. That will make a huge difference. It's great. You just cross it off and literally could just write down, like, buy groceries, laundry, go outdoors, get movement, drink water. And then throughout the day, as you do those things, you just cross them off. Check, check, check. You'll feel very accomplished. You'll feel like back into a routine, very accomplished. You'll feel good. Next, number 9, phone a friend. Phone a friend or a family member. Give them a call. Just talk to someone. It's tough when you have a highly stimulating weekend. It can be really tough to go to the contrast of that, of like you alone in your room for a couple days. So it's important to have some sort of like human emotional connection, stimulation, call it what you will, and getting that interaction in, really good, huge for the program, will make a huge difference. And then lastly, number 10 is just give yourself grace. That I think is super important, is to just be like, okay, like this was really tough. Maybe you're going to sleep through your alarm. For example, for me, all last week I slept through my alarm every day because I was just like, I was exhausted. And I was like, you know what? Usually I'd beat myself up for sleeping through my alarm. Like, why'd you do this? Whatever, like a lot of negative self-talk. But coming off a really long weekend, being like, some things like that are going to happen. And like, you're exhausted and that's okay. Your body clearly needed it and it's good for you and your body wants that. And so give yourself the grace. Like, if you can't even do any of these things, if you can't do any of the 9 things that I mentioned and you Postmate food and you go stay up late and you don't talk to anyone and you stay indoors and you don't move, whatever, like, just be like, that's okay. That's okay. That's what I needed right now. And that was what I could handle. And that's what I had the capacity for. And give yourself that grace to just sort of be as you are. I think that's really important. All of these things are obviously like great to do anyways. But I think they're become really essential after like a long, exhausting trip or weekend or activity. You know what I mean? A bender, if you will. And it goes into this idea of opposite action, which is to engage in, like, if you're I'm going to butcher this definition, but the way I interpret it is like, if you're experiencing like a negative emotion, doing the opposite of what that emotion's telling you to do. So if you're feeling like sad and like kind of shut down and your body wants to like retreat and like go into itself, the opposite of that is to go out and to move and to go outdoors and to call a friend and to get groceries and like do all those things. So, and by leaning into the opposite action is how you kind of move past the emotion. So yeah, those are my little tips for bender. This is a very, very short and sweet episode. I actually literally have no idea how long it is, but I think it might only be like 10 minutes. And that's okay. I'm giving myself grace here. It doesn't need to be that long. It doesn't need to be this crazy 45-minute thing. It can just be a fun little 10-minute episode. There's nothing wrong with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry to wrap it up here. I have nothing else to talk about. And that's my thing, is like, I don't want to, it's really important to me with this podcast that I don't fill it with empty space. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a time and place for that. Like, I think like there's some of my favorite podcasts are ones where like the host just chit chat the whole time, but there's 2 hosts. So they're like having a conversation and they're chit chatting and talking. And I do like it actually when the ones that I listen to that have one host, like they kind of just like ramble. But I don't like it when they're clearly reiterating the same point or going on these tangents that aren't beneficial to the overall point, but are just there to fill space. I don't want to do that. I don't want to like fill empty space for you guys. I want you to know that if I put out a 25-minute episode, that like all 25 minutes are good for you to listen to. If I put out a 10-minute episode, you're getting 10 great minutes. I don't want you to think like, oh, she's putting out a 45-minute episode, 30 of that's going to be good and 15 minutes is going to be a waste of my time. No, like if I put out a 45-minute episode, I want you to think like, oh shit, Jackie recorded this episode and edited it and really thought that all 45 minutes of this deserve to be in here, because that's how I feel. So thank you so much for listening. I should say this at the beginning, but you can watch this podcast on Spotify and YouTube. You can listen wherever else you get podcasts. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Def Not Funny Pod. I'm really having a hard time with TikTok. I just don't like it. Like, and I think it's coming across in my videos that I like don't enjoy it, like on my personal TikTok. So I'm trying to kind of like just take a step back from that, because everyone's telling me you gotta do TikTok. But I'm like, you know what? Like, if it's not like bringing me joy, it's gonna come through in the videos and the content that I'm producing. So like, I might as well not do it. Okay. Watch, I'm gonna literally post TikTok in 20 minutes. On that note, thank you so much for joining. Love you guys. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye. Did you laugh? I didn't.